G'day ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Christmas season is over and New Year's is almost upon us. I'll try and get this video out before New Year's Eve at least. Welcome. If you're brand new to the channel, don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe and all that magical goodness. How are we all doing? How was Christmas? If you don't celebrate Christmas, then hopefully you just enjoyed the time off. Maybe you did some gather with the boys, something small, just to do something, you know how it is. Now today I thought I'd do a little cheeky list video, ladies and gentlemen, about some beginner bikes. Now that I've had a bit more time in the realm of riding, have had a bit more experience on different kinds of bikes, I think it's about that time, baby. So I thought I'd do a little cheeky list. It's only about 5 bikes long, so it's nothing massive, just a small little something. Maybe I'll go in depth a little bit later on, but today we just thought we'd do a small little list of the 5 good beginner bikes, alright, to get you by. Calm down there, Susan, your Corolla. Alright, so number 5, I thought we'd start with old reliable, the Rebel 500. It's a great bike that does everything you need, does nothing spectacularly, but it does nothing badly, you know what I mean? It's a good little bike. 471cc engine. Puts out, what is it, like 40 horsepower, 45 horsepower, something like that, maybe even more, I don't know. Nothing too specific on stats. I haven't gone full deep dive on stats for you. Maybe that's what I said, if I do a longer video, I'll do the stats and all that shit for you. But the Rebel 500, alright, it's a nice little nifty bike. It's very light, nimble, gets around for a cruiser bike at least. So, if you're looking for a cruiser bike, but you don't know if you really want to commit to the bland barges, the cruiser bike life, then I would suggest you go for a Rebel. It's a small bike, it's a lightweight bike, it can do passengers. Alright, you will notice the difference, obviously. It's not a fucking land barge with a massive V-twin full of torque, so you are going to notice a severe power change when you, obviously have a passenger on board, but it can definitely do it, alright, which is important for a cruiser bike, because typically you'll find yourself having passengers. Although if you look like me and you take the passenger seat off, well then, obviously that's a little out of the question for the time being. Oh, it's a bit dusty down there, isn't it? Oh, alright. Thing about the Rebel is its exhaust note's a little bit bland, not terrible, but nothing spectacular at the same time. You know what I mean? It's just, it does the job, but it's nothing flash. So like I was saying, it does nothing flash, does nothing like terribly. It's a nice run of the mill. It's a good bike, all right? Does everything you want it to do, and of course it looks fucking sexy. All right? Now, lots of modifications as well you can do with the Rebel. So you get your grips, your mirrors, your seats, you got the belly pans, covers at the front, you can do your tank covers, man, it's all there. Because it's a cruiser, cruisers typically have a lot more visual customizations besides just a paint job and a mirror change, alright? Next up on the list. Now, this is a fantastic, all reliable, can't go wrong with it. And that, of course, is a beautiful Yamaha R3. Now, the R3 is a tried and tested method. Everybody knows the R3s, everyone loves the R3s. In fact, I almost got to the point of selling this bike and buying an R3, but I'm glad I didn't. If I was to do it, it would be the bigger brother, but we'll get back to that. So, talking about the Yamaha R3, it's a nimble little bike. It's got a little bit of go. It's nothing spectacular. If you want to change it to a toy, obviously you can pop wheelies on it. It's not full of torque, but it's light as anything, so you can do it. Flickable, fantastic fuel economy. It's got plenty of room for a beginner rider. So if you're new to riding, the Yamaha R3 is fun. You'll grow out of it eventually. But if you're not a super speedy rider, you'll be fine. Like, look, honestly, they say you grow out of learner bikes, and I understand, but it's not like you get, like, it's not the speed that bothers you. It's the fact that you just want more power, but you don't need more power. Most learner bikes are faster than fucking half the cars on the road anyway, so unless you're coming up against some bloody Bugattis or some shit, you're like, look, you're not really gonna, come on, sir. You're not really going to be losing drag races. That was a nice little thing over there. Oh, but yeah, so unless you're going up against some supercars, like, look, man, you're not really going to be losing if you're trying to be that guy. All right. So Yamaha R3, it's a fun little bike. It's a good little track bike as well. Actually, it's very popular for those things. But it's a bike you'll use and you'll love. All right, you'll appreciate. I mean, look at the other YouTubers, like even fucking Yummy Noob, if you watch him or not. He started on an R3 and he did just fine. I mean, sure, he's crashed a few times because he doesn't seem to learn, but that's besides the point. Anyway, moving on. So, the next bike is a bit more of the, it's a hit or miss for some people, just because European bike, maybe, have engine problems and all that good shit. Electrical shit. Anyway, so the next bike up is any of the KTM 390 platforms. Now, if they bring the 490s, which apparently are coming out, that'll be a bloody even better thing. But the RC 390, and the Duke 390. It's the one-cylinder thumper, baby. Got plenty of oomph and, of course, plenty of enjoyability. Now, Jason has his KTM, and he fucking loved it until he got that CBR 250. But like I said, KTM 390. It's got a nice exhaust note for a thumper. Small, light bike. It runs a little bit warm, but it does the job exactly how you want it to be done. It gets you around, and it's not a very uncomfortable bike. So all those small beginner bikes are very upright bikes. All right, nothing too spectacular, nothing too terrible about them. But, you know, they do the job nicely, and they look alright, especially those new ones. They look a bit strange in pictures, but then you see it in person, and everything changed when you see it in person. You know, like when I looked at the photo, I was like, eh. Then I went to the bike night and I saw a few. I was like, actually, they kind of go hard. If you like your sports bikes and you're happy with something with a little less oomph to it, you just want to get around, that's a good bike to do it. And in fact, it sort of rivals the R3. Like, they tend to race against each other. Now, a lot of the people will take the R3 over the 390 because in racing, you can blow up the engine if you're fanging it everywhere, every day. But, well, every bike has problems when you're racing it to fucking back. So, next up on my list is actually one of my favourite learner bikes. Now, obviously, when I talk learner bikes, I'm talking restricted ones in Australia. Now, if you de-restrict this next one, it's a nice one, and it has a beautiful fucking exhaust note. And if you're in America, you just buy the full power one, because fuck, we don't get that privilege here. Now, and of course, I am talking about the Yamaha MT-07 and the Yamaha YZF R7. Now, they're basically chosen on preference at this point, but hoi baby, they are sexy bikes with sexier exhaust notes. MT-07 and R7. Now, say what you want about the R7, it's still a gorgeous looking thing, and those bikes have unlimited potential for stunting, alright? If you like your stunt bikes and you want to begin on those ones, fucking oath, mate, you're going to have a blast. Lots of torque, lovely amount of horsepower. What do they have, about 80 horsepower when they're full power? Obviously, Lamb's bikes in Australia have about 40 to 50 horsepower at most, but everything can be de-restricted. But yes, R7, MT-07. Now, if you haven't heard the exhaust note of an R7, my friend, do yourself a favour. Oh, an MT-07. There's plenty of videos on the internet. They have a sexy sound. Because they're cross-playing engines, they don't sound like lawnmowers. Like, you listen to the Rebel, it's got that da-da-da-da-da-da, like a lawnmower. But the R7 has a much more throaty, pleasant, so it fires a little bit off. Oh, it's just, once you hear it, you understand. It's just, it's sex to the eardrums, alright? Absolutely fantastic. Now, lucky last. Obviously, as a man who's a fanboy of them, I had to put this number one, but this list is in no particular order, so it don't really matter. But the one that I'm thinking about is, of course, the Aprilia RS 660, because that bike, my friends, is fucking, oh, it's sexy. Now, if you like your rider modes and all that good shit, that bike's definitely for you, okay? So it's got all the technology, it's got absolutely everything you fucking need in it that you can think of. 100 horsepower when it's fully powered, you know, oh. And it looks nice. It's not too aggressive, meaning it is quite comfortable on the road. And holy hell, man, it's an Aprilia, so fuck it. Everyone's going to look at it. Now, I've had the luxury of listening to a few of these bikes in person. Whee, hello there, bumpy boys. And now they're not perfect, like Rebel, how they have that lawnmower. They're slightly off, so they don't quite sound like lawnmowers. They have a bit of characteristic to them, which is what you want with an exhaust. Oh, it's absolutely fucking gorgeous. Now, the looks of them, obviously, I find them very sexy. Now, if you don't like them, of course, you can always get the Tuono, which is a naked bike, even though it looks very much just like a sport bike with handlebars, but hey, Aprilia, you do you. But, oh, as a beginner bike, it's, if you're in America where you don't have restrictions and you want that as your first bike and it's not limited, look, it's sort of teetering on the, it's probably a bit too powerful, but also if you baby it and put it in a rain mode, you can sort of get by with it. But in Australia, obviously, you buy it restricted, and then you de-restrict it later. But fuck, it's 20 grand as a beginner bike, so it is a bit expensive, all right? But, oh baby, it's a fucking, it's a treat. Now, of course, there are some honourable mentions which I'll chuck on here. We'll quick fire them though, but the first one will be a CBR 650R, alright? It's not a terrible bike, it's a nice upright bike. It is a quite heavy sport bike, but nothing too crazy. And of course, it's got that beautiful inline 4, and it revs relatively alright. Okay, nothing ridiculous, but nothing, you know, nothing crazy. Next up would be, of course, the CBR 250R, the MC19/MC22. Now, only because I've had the luxury of riding an MC19 and an MC22, and I've heard one of them with an exhaust, and Jason's one is getting an exhaust very soon. Assure you with great happiness that they are abso-fucking-lutely worth every penny, and they're cheap as dog shit, man. You can buy an MC19 for like $4 grand-ish Australian, so like, man, they cost absolutely nothing to fucking buy. Oh, and they're just fun. Woo. But yes, another honourable mention will be the Triumphs. So you got the Triumph Trident 660, which is a beautiful 3-cylinder bike. I was about to say car there. And of course the Street Triple 660 or 675, depending on which one you get. But look, man, either one of them is a good bike. And of course, last one but not least will be the Kawasaki Vulcan. If you like your traditional cruisers, that's the bike to go for as a beginner. Obviously, if you like your Harleys and you can get an 883, you can, but in Australia you can't do that, so we're not going to include that one here. But Kawasaki Vulcan, it's got a very boring exhaust note, very good bike though, very well made. Nice forward controls, very comfortable, great for the road trip stuff. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, that's my little list for you. I hope you've had a good time. I hope you had a good Christmas. Don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe and all that good stuff. But otherwise, I don't know what I just said then. Otherwise, take it easy, keep it cheesy, and as always, peace!